doesn't feel right wearing this anymore. Let's change it. Not quite that. Oh, there we go. So, what do you guys think of the shirt? I think it's fitting, you know. I'm a mentalisto, you are a mentalisto or a mentalista. You can check out the link below if you're interested in getting that. And I think this is going to be a fitting shirt for the future. With that said, what are we here to talk about? We're here to talk about the post-RJ world, the post-Red John world, in which we find out what you guys thought of the latest episode of The Mentalist, and also find out what Heller and Simon Baker were saying about this episode and also what's coming up next. And finally, I'm going to give you my thoughts where I think this show is going to be going in the future, my hopes, my dreams, a lot of different things. It's going to be a little chat between you and I. So the first thing we're going to talk about is you. Yeah, you. What you thought about this episode, because believe me, the 400 plus comments I had on my review were very, very revealing, and we got a lot of tweets, a lot of Instagram, so thank you so much for all that feedback, guys. Everyone had an opinion about this episode, and I think they fall on 3 specific categories. Category number 1, people really liked it. And I put myself in that category, and I think a lot of other fans really liked this episode. For example, Howard Houston says, "Right on, the entire episode was extremely satisfying. I'm looking forward to the coming season, to an entirely new show built around Patrick James." We also got Flubberflops, who says, "I agree completely with you, Americ." Well, thank you very much. "I, for one, love this episode. The people complaining about it are just upset that everything wasn't explained and spoon-fed to them like little babies." I wouldn't go that far, but I understand that, you know, some people were disappointed. Which brings me to my second category. Some people actually liked this episode, but fundamentally were a little bit disappointed. For example, TWD98, I thought it was a satisfying ending, and a lot of the confrontation made sense when thinking about it, but there were definitely some unanswered questions that might never get answered. And I agree, definitely a lot of unanswered questions. And Hayla Madrid said, "I liked it all, but they should have shown how Red John killed people and drew Red John face logo on them." So yeah, it would have been pretty cool if they had gone in through those explanations. And finally, the third category, people who absolutely did not like this episode at all. For example, Patricia Gomez says, "The worst episode of The Mentalist." That kind of says it all. Elaborating a little bit more, UK Beck said, "In my opinion, this episode had so many plot holes that it looked like Swiss cheese tanks could move through. I've been a fan since the pilot, but I loathe this episode." I can understand the feeling. I can understand the sentiment. Some people definitely, this was not it. Definitely not their favorite episode. But some people took it a little bit further. They said they not only hated the episode, but they hated my review of the episode so much. And guys, this is how I actually read these comments.
Come on, man, just tell us how much you were paid for such a review. It's probably the worst episode in the entire serial. If I'm wrong, you can correct me and tell us which episode was worser. But I don't really think you will find it.
Yeah.
Americ is a money-grubbing fraud. And he is no reviewer. He wants cash and is an obedient slave of the big companies in Hollywood. That's why there's no critique.
Okay. I just like the episode, guys. It's not that serious. Now, guys, I understand where everyone's coming from. Whether you liked it, whether you were disappointed in it, or whether you absolutely hated it, I understand where everyone's coming from. While I personally enjoyed this episode, I can relate to a lot of people who were disappointed or who actually hated this episode, because there's a lot of things they could have done to make this episode better. There are basically 3 things that they could have done to improve this episode and this entire storyline altogether. Number 1, they could have provided more answers. I understand when people are frustrated when creators or series pose all these questions, bring up all these elements, and just fundamentally never answer them. As the creators, if you're posing questions that the audience is wondering about and you never answer them and give us an answer such as, "Oh, you know, all the answers are good, you can come up with your own theory, I'm leaving this open-ended," Fundamentally, for me, that's code for you couldn't find the answer to the question you yourself posed. And that, in my opinion, is a failure on your part. So, while I'm willing to let this go for the Mentalist, I understand that some fans are not willing to let that go, and that is absolutely legitimate. Number 2, filler. I honestly think that what really killed a lot of this entire thread and storyline was filler. There was a lot of filler in this episode, and there was a lot of filler in the previous episode, whether it was Reed Smith running around town, Bertram running around town, or having the team stuck in a car, and having Van Pelt hit her head on the freaking window. What purpose did that serve? Seriously, how did that advance the storyline, develop the characters in any way, shape, or form? Nothing! It didn't do anything. You added that because you didn't know what else to do. That's my theory. So, I understand if some people were disappointed about that. Again, I let it go. And the third way you could have improved the storyline, and I think a lot of you mentioned that, were adding flashbacks. Flashbacks are absolutely great devices that will fill in the gaps, answer all these questions, and quite frankly, avoid the entire filler that comes with this whole aspect. Now, maybe you couldn't do it. Maybe you tried. Maybe there were no logistics to get there. But fundamentally, flashbacks would have answered who RJ was, why he did what he did, how he figured out the list, how all these things happened in the way they happened, like how Patrick managed to put the gun there, get the pigeon in his thing. Flashbacks would have helped quite a bit. The fact that you chose not to have a single flashback to explain all this stuff, yeah, that's kind of disappointing. I'm sorry. Now, again, I'm willing to let that go, but you have to understand that some viewers out there are not willing to let that go and are going to be disappointed about this whole thing. Now, enough about what you and I thought of this episode. Let's talk a little bit about what Bruno Heller and Simon Baker had to say about this whole thing. I will say this. It's a lot. There's a lot that they had to say about it. They give a lot of interviews, and I really appreciate that they took the time to explain where they were coming from, why they did this episode the way they did it, the choices they made. And I'm going to put all the links below so you can delve into that material yourself. But there are a few things that I want to mention that I think are going to be pretty important for you to know. Number 1, Jane was RJ all along. I know you're like, what? What do you mean? No. Here's the thing. It turns out that every time we heard the voice of Red John, Simon Baker was actually voicing Red John. He revealed that in an interview after the RJ episode, and I myself was just blown away. So in a way, all you people who kept saying that Patrick Jane was Red John, in a way, you were right, because Simon Baker was the one voicing Red John. So that was kind of funny. Fun fact that you should know. A lot of you in the comments were asking whether some of the questions you were wondering about Red John were going to be addressed in future episodes. And I'm here to tell you, no, it's done. The RJ storyline is completely done. Heller and Baker were adamant about it. They want to move on from that. So this is a wrap, guys. This is a completely done. RJ is over. Whatever questions are out there will essentially never be answered beyond what we currently have right now. Unless, I don't know, they decide later on that they're going to do a special We Explain RJ episode, which I really doubt. Now, a lot of you were asking, is Gisbin going to happen? Are Jane and Lisbon finally going to get together? And I think the best person to answer that definitely has to be Heller, who says that now, after Red John, Jane has more freedom and more of a kind of a sense of possibility and liberty. So moving forward, he now has a bit more leeway and he can make his own decisions about who's a friend and who's a colleague. So I think that definitely leaves the door open to Jane and Lisbon coming together. Which brings us to what's coming next. So what's coming next? We're definitely going to find out some new things. So after the RJ episode, the next episode is going to be a 2-year time jump. So there's going to be a lot of different scenarios playing out, the characters in all these different places. Again, links in the description below if you want to find out a little bit more about that. what I wanted to talk about are two things. Number one, so a lot of you are essentially freaking the heck out because the next promo for episode 9 of season 6 shows Jane with a mysterious woman and they think that there's some sort of love connection going on there. It's possible. I don't think so. I don't think it's gonna be as tight of a love connection as everyone thinks it's gonna be, but if it is, I would urge you all to take it for what it is. It's a storyline, it's not the story. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that the whole Jane and Lisbon thing is going to be addressed right now. And I think right now we're starting a new chapter in the character that is Patrick Jane. So we don't know if this is going to eventually become the ongoing thread, meaning Patrick Jane has a lover and now there's a love triangle between Jane, Lisbon, and whoever this new character is. I don't think that's necessarily where they're gonna go. If they do, I'm curious to see how that's gonna play out. I'm not personally looking forward to it, but I'm at least open to the possibility of this being a part of the journey of Jane and Lisbon getting together. I'm curious. I'm curious to hear about that. Now, number two, I'm really focused on where this whole thread is gonna go. What is the Mentalist going to be all about? And personally, there's only two things that I hope happen. Number one, I want the Mentalist to be the Mentalist. I want Patrick Jane to solve mysteries. And I hope these mysteries are as interesting and compelling as all the ones we've had throughout the season. So that's number one. I want the Mentalist to be the Mentalist. Number two, I'm hoping that they really stop using filler episodes or filler storylines to try to advance things. Now, I know it's very difficult. I understand that running a network show is something that puts a lot of pressure on you. When you have to develop 22, 23 episodes for a given season, you're gonna end up with some filler here and there. But I don't want you to confuse having filler episodes and filler storylines, where you have storylines that last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 episodes to try to fill an entire season to distract us from what we're really looking forward to. If those two elements are handled properly, then Mentalist, you and I, we're in this together. I will be a Mentalisto for life. If not, you got some explaining to do, because whew. So anyways, guys, that's my whole take on the whole post-RJ world. What it was, what it can be, what it will be. Hopefully, I've given you some answers. I'm, of course, waiting for you to provide me some of your answers, some of your thoughts. So please comment below and let me know. And you know the drill, guys. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button. If you're new, make sure to subscribe because I'm going to keep reviewing The Mentalist for the upcoming season. And I can't wait so that you and I can discover what's up and what's coming up for Patrick Jane. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye. Some of you have been asking me how to pronounce my last name because when you have an N and a G and a W, you're like, what the heck is that? So, my last name is pronounced Nguije. Americ Nguije. The N is silent, it's Nguije. Nguije. Americ Nguije. That's how you say my name. The more you know.